hello there, and welcome to another episode of Recliner Wrestling Review. I am Jared, here with my co-host John. John, how's it going today, man?
Things are good. How about yourself?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. I'm here for In Your House 12. It's time, whether you like it or not.
It's not all bad.
Right? Yeah, we'll find some silver lining in there somewhere. So, full disclosure, behind the scenes, into the inner workings of this show, it was kind of my turn, I guess, if you will, to pick a topic, and I just blurted out In Your House 12 and got my numbers kind of mixed up, and yeah, took us down a rabbit hole. That
you specifically said it's time.
Details. Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, John Reese.
Sure.
Oh, man. Yes, indeed. So we are here for In Your House 12. It's time. Before we jump into that, let me take a second. Just on YouTube and Facebook, as well as Instagram and Twitter. We've got audio-only episodes that air on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, and Podbean. And if you have any show topics or things that you'd like us to discuss, feel free to send us an email at reclinerwrestlingreview@gmail.com. In Your House 12, it's time. I guess let's talk about the elephant in the room. The main event is Bret Hart versus Sid, and there's no Vader, even though it's kind of a Vader-ish title.
Yeah, I mean, the Mastodon, nowhere to be found.
Nowhere to be found. MIA. I'll be honest, I did some research, and I don't really have the exact reason why he wasn't there. The plan apparently was to get the belts off of Bret and onto Vader, and for whatever reason that just doesn't happen. And so with this pay-per-view that we're going to be talking about today and moving forward, they kind of sidetrack Vader and put him against Taker and have an angle that way, and then we get the Sid and Shawn angle from there. It happens on December 15th of 1996 in West Palm Beach, Florida, at the West Palm Beach Memorial Auditorium, and they're which has a capacity of 6,000 people. Now that's an important number to remember, because there is only 5,708 fans that show up that day, and only 4,581 paid, which was a total of just over $69,000 as a gate, which is ungodly low. So, John, when you see numbers like that, what do you think? What kind of reaction?
I feel like your top star is just jetted out of the company, and you're scrambling.
Yeah,
and things aren't looking good.
Yeah. As a bit of side note research, if you will, this is the well, I'll let you guess. On a scale from lowest to highest, where do you think this ranks as far as all-time low-selling gates?
For a pay-per-view?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. Bottom 5?
Close. It is number 6.
Number 6. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I mean, if you want, I can run through these.
Yeah, I'm curious now. What was worse?
Okay, so number 6 is In Your House 12. It's time with 5,708. In Your House 6 was at the number 5 position, which was Rage in the Cage, and it had 5,500 people there at Louisville Gardens. And the number 4 spot, we've got In Your House 3 triple header with 5,146, which was at the Saginaw Civic Center. And number 3 was In Your House 17 Ground Zero with 4,963. That one also from the Louisville Gardens. And the number 2 spot, and I would have guessed this to be the number 1, to be honest, was ECW December to Dismember with 4,800 at the Hammerstein Ballroom. Any guess on what number 1 might have been?
No idea.
So that was 2004's edition of Taboo Tuesday with 3,500 people at the Bradley Center in Milwaukee.
Yeah. Crazy.
So, yeah, needless to say, business is down. We've had big jumps from WWF to WCW, and the holes are showing.
Yeah.
So
Business is hurting at this time. Oh, what a cover! Oh, I like
right
that actually.
now, I mean, yeah. When you
I
see
love
this, it
the
makes
old
you want to
stuff.
buy it.
That's
It makes you
fun.
want to
Yeah.
watch it, and then you hit play, and you're like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is there anything on here that you see that sticks out to you?
It's just very 90s. I like it. It looks so 90s. And looking at the back, I mean, I did not get that Rocky Maivia match,
Yes. Correct.
and that's not the Diesel I know.
Right. Or Razor.
Oh, that's Razor. Oh,
That's
wow.
supposed to be Razor. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Woof.
that was the two things that jumped out to me. First of all, yes, that on the WWE Network version, Rocky Maivia versus Salvador Sincere was not on the pay per view, but it happened apparently. And the second thing is, what a bold choice to put Diesel and Razor on the packaging. Like, you didn't even have to do that, but yeah, ego doesn't always win out.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, they were stars at one point. Not those
This is true.
guys.
This is true.
Yeah.
So I guess let's go ahead and jump into the first match, which again was where did we go?
Leaf
There we go.
Cassidy and Flash Funk.
No.
Oh,
It
oh,
was
the
so the
Rocky
opener was
Maivia.
so it was Rocky versus Salvador Sincere, which, like I said, is not on the WWE Network, but you can find it if you do a quick little Google search very easily.
Okay.
Um, so
Were there more darks after that?
No, not that I know of. Not that I know of. But you'll, if anybody on this planet will appreciate this. The only thing that made that worth watching was we got a promo from the great Paul Bearer. So
Of course.
now, overall, my thoughts of the match, which it's like a 9-minute clip. So it's very rudimentary. It's very straight out of wrestling school, that kind of thing. But so there's nothing really flashy or over the top per se. But Rocky is definitely athletic as all get out, and it's showing through. There's a few timing issues and stuff on little things, but nothing totally distracting. So like nothing stands out, but nothing good or bad stands out, I guess is the best way to put that. So interestingly enough, Rocky was billed from the South Pacific, not Miami. Salvador cuts a heel promo, and very much in the style, if you're not familiar with his character, reminds me of Armando Alejandro Estrada. And what was really funny to me, and I caught this no less than like 3 or 4 times, was Vince doesn't call him Salvador Sincere. He calls him Salatory Sincere. And I was like, are we not even clear on the direction creatively of what we're going with this guy or what?
He owns the
But
company.
yeah,
He can call him whatever he wants.
true. Well, I thought he was just an announcer.
Oh. Yeah,
So
wink.
right. So during the match, we cut backstage to Mankind, the Executioner, and Paul Bearer. And this is happening like right over top of the match. Vince asks, oh man, and I love this so much. Vince asks Paul what to expect in the match and shows us the Executioner's thumb.
What, is Vince on commentary?
Vince is on commentary, yes.
And he's throwing to backstage.
Yes. During the match.
Fantastic.
Of his new up and comer.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so Paul says, here's what you can expect, and points to the Executioner's thumb and calls it the Asian Spike and says, it's gonna be Christmas gift. This is his last Christmas gift right here to his windpipe. Mankind chimes in. And knowing what we know about Mick Foley now, you'll find this entertaining, but he uses a line that I'm sure he wanted to use for a while. But he chimes in and says, Uncle Paul, I'm trying to be a good boy, but I'm telling the Undertaker right now, better not shout, better not cry, or else the Mandible Claw will be coming to town. Have a nice day.
I mean,
So yeah,
I
and
like that.
I love it. Are you kidding? That was like,
Oh,
I'm not, I swear I'm not exaggerating. It's not even on the network. And it's, to me, the highlight of the whole dang show. It was really good. In all of its cheesy glory.
Yeah.
So back to the match. Rocky hits a power slam on Sal for a 2 count. Rocky goes to the top rope and hits a crossbody and pins Sal, but Sal rolls through and reverses for a 2 count. Rocky hits his then finisher, which little piece of trivia. Do you remember what his first finisher was before we got the rock bottom?
Was it some spinning discus? No, not a
No.
clue. Not a
So a
clue.
shoulder breaker on top of your shoulders,
Okay.
shoulder to the thigh and down. So he hits that, and then this is where it just really got chaotic and made no sense. So, by the way, Sal
a
is
theme of this pay-per-view, I might add.
yes, exactly. Let me backtrack too. Sal is has escorted down to the ring, if you will, by Jim Cornette as his manager. And so, kind of the backstory to this is Jim has reached out to Rocky and said, "Hey, I would like to be your manager," and Rocky turns him down. And so that's why we get this match. So after Rock hits his move, his finisher with the shoulder breaker, Cornette enters the ring as Rock's going for a pin. He enters the ring and like literally does nothing. Rock gets up from covering him before the ref can even get down for a 1 count. And Cornette sells like just a total scaredy cat kind of bump, like, you know, and drops the racket and everything. The racket never hits him, never nothing. And all of a sudden the ref calls her for a bell and for no apparent reason. And then we get Finkel announcing that Rocky has won via disqualification. Hello? Like, what?
Well,
I mean, and I rewound it like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, okay, maybe like the tennis racket was supposed to hit him as he's flailing it up in the like nothing. It was, and the crowd didn't. They weren't booing. They weren't like you messed up or nothing. They just okay, yeah.
let's go with it. On with the show. More chaos.
Yeah, exactly. And that's probably why it's not on the network.
Yeah.
So, all right.
My.
Yeah, buddy. Here we go. So we've got our first match that's actually on the pay-per-view with Leaf Cassidy, aka Al Snow, versus Flash Funk, Too Cold Scorpio. So what do you think of this match here, John?
So many thoughts go through my head when I see Too Cold and Al Snow together and those purple and silver on Flash Funk. I don't know. It was the entrance for Flash Funk.
Thank you.
I get you want to open the show in a big way.
You're spot on.
The amount of pyro for Flash Funk.
Are you looking at my notes?
No, and having, were they the Funkettes?
Yes.
A couple Funkette dancers out there.
They were getting it until they got in the ring, and then they got off sync, and it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, I like Too Cold, but I don't like. I remember Flash Funk as a kid, but not so flashy. It
Really?
was, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it was kind of that time where I was kind of out of it, into it, but not like, I don't know. It wasn't. He wasn't on my radar. It was that time where NWO's what drew me back.
Oh, gotcha. See, and
so
I was like,
I remember hearing Flash Funk, but I couldn't really remember any Flash Funk matches. And seeing all this, I was like, okay, this is not what I expected. So. And then,
well, and I want to touch on it here in a second.
I didn't know who Leaf Cassidy was. Like looking at the show, and then out comes Al Snow, and I'm like, oh, Al, cool. So I'm watching this, and I'm just like, this would be a very different match in ECW.
Uh,
But give me your
yeah.
thoughts on it before we get to the finish.
Okay. Yeah.
Like the
Well,
match itself, I guess.
okay. So, my thoughts are, I was not. We've said this before, and I'll say it again. I was not a WCW guy, so I was like head deep in WWF at this point. So I am totally invested. Anytime they'd bring somebody new, like Flash Funk, I had no idea who he was before or that kind of thing. So I knew him as Flash Funk. Um, and I would say the same about Al, except for Leaf didn't get over, so I knew him as Al
Yeah,
somewhat
yeah,
afterwards, and didn't really realize, oh yeah, that was that guy that was this,
yeah.
until a couple of years later. Um,
I get. Did he used to team with Marty Jannetty?
yes, the new,
Okay, that's the new Rockers.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so I
a
remember
total flop
that.
gimmick, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't remember any matches or it going anywhere. I just remember seeing them once or twice.
yeah. So for me, I was a Flash Funk fan. I liked the purple and the big old obnoxious boots. Like something about it, I
Yeah,
liked as a little kid.
the boots were eye catching.
They were, especially the way that they went over the knees, and so they would like have to flap open in the
Yeah.
back. So yeah, interesting. But literally the first sentence I wrote, and I can't believe that you touched on this because we don't share notes before the show. We just go into it blind. Is literally what I've got written down is Funk had pyro?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then the second thing I wrote was, that's a lot of pyro.
Yeah.
So when he said that, I'm like, are you kidding? Yeah. So and I was not necessarily a fan of Leaf Cassidy, but I could definitely see the same things that I saw in Rocky in the previous match, that Jude can go, probably just in the wrong gimmick. And of course, we find out later that yes, that is the case.
I thought Al was more jacked than I remembered in the like. This is '96, so I remember Al from 2000,
Oh wow,
and going on, and like as a trainer. So I thought, wow, Al's he's got some guns. Those arms look pretty big
yeah,
for Al.
yeah, for sure. Um, what what is your? I'll defer to you and ask if, because you mentioned it would look different if this was an ECW. How would it be different, in your opinion?
I just think they would have taken it a little more seriously. Like the flashiness would have been out of it, and the finish, I think would have been. I think they would have done a little more harder shots. I think the crowd would have been into it a little more too. I don't think the crowd was going crazy like they would have in an ECW crowd. So
I think that if they would have done the exact same match in ECW, it would have been better received. I don't think, minus the entrances, when you strip away the entrances
yeah,
and the flashy clothes, it is an ECW style match in a lot of ways. I mean, you got an overhead belly to belly to the outside. You've got
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot going on in this match that was very cutting edge for WWF in 1996. And you can kind of see the very beginnings of little things that we see today in every single match, with Pele kicks and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so let's see here. Funk on the second rope goes for a crossbody and botches it. That's where he slips down, and then he just, like they hit it again, brother, and do it right the second time. And I'm like, man, every time I see that, I just skip it. Go on. Don't worry about getting your stuff in.
Yeah. Or just work around a little and come back to it. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I thought it was funny. There was a spot that Vince on commentary says, "What an innovative move!" And it was he called it a face first power bomb, and what it actually was it was supposed to be Hurricane Rana, and he didn't. I'll try to refer to him as Leaf now. Leaf dropped him or whatever, essentially, and so it just didn't look good at all. And so that's how they tried to recover. What an innovative move! That's like, wow. But yeah, then the match starts to pick up. We get Leaf with a belly to belly overhead from the ring to the outside on Funk, and let's see here. Leaf does a second rope springboard somersault plancha, I think is all 17 of the words that are used to describe that move. And then we get back in the ring. Leaf misses a second rope moonsault. Funk goes to the top rope for a moonsault, gets a 2 count. There's multiple pins and reversals for about like 8 different 2 counts, which I thought was kind of a weird spot for this match. It didn't really make sense for the match that they were putting together.
Opener on a card, you need a few falsies.
Right, but this was like 1, 2, 3, roll around. 1, 2, roll around. Just like redundant. But finally, for the finish, we get Funk hitting his big old 450 splash and pins Cassidy for the 3 count. So,
did you catch the botch there on commentary?
Not sure. Which was it?
So as they're doing the replays, they're talking about things. JR was the one who did it, and JR,
yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Shooting star press.
Yeah, 450, buddy. But he called the 450 a shooting star press, and I went, wait, what? I had to rewind and watch it again.
Which is funny because knowing what we know later in the match or later in the show, there's a reason why a shooting star press was on his mind.
Okay.
So yeah. After that match, we get a Royal Rumble pay-per-view upcoming ad for next month in January. Yeah.
There's the pin for that.
Yep. All right, so then we get backstage. Is that right? That's not right.
Yeah. No. Well, it's Razor and Diesel come out, and then they go to the backstage promo.
Yeah. There you go.
So you can even see Diesel in the background there in the ring.
Yeah. So yes, we get the full treatment of Razor and Diesel, and it's definitely neither. So before we get into that, do you know anything about these two?
Well, obviously Razor and Diesel were in the land of Ted Turner, and they just recast them like they're characters on a TV show, not people, not humans. And watching it, I was just like, that Razor is horrible. Bad.
Really bad. Especially on the cells. I was like,
oh, yeah. And the Diesel, watching it, and, I wasn't watching that. I heard about this stuff. And I was like, that Diesel, the hair's a little off. The when he wears the glasses, it's not terrible. But I thought he moved really well, and then I looked him up, and it's Kane.
Yeah.
I was like, Kane does a pretty good Kevin Nash impersonation.
He does, yeah.
So
they were both.
I didn't think the Diesel was terrible.
No. So they were both sent to Memphis to work on this shtick before tapings and stuff. And they would have to study tapes of Scott Hall and Kevin Nash and how they walked to the ring, how they sold, that kind of stuff. And I think that Glenn Jacobs did a great job.
Yeah.
Of trying to impersonate Diesel.
Who was
Razor, however? What's that?
Who was Razor? I didn't even bother looking him up. It was so bad.
Same. I just know that he was a friend of Bret Hart's, and Bret's the one that suggested him. And so
he's probably a very credible wrestler, but his Razor impersonation, it's probably just the look. He looked nothing like him.
No.
So.
Especially in the face. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had no machismo, if you will.
Oh, Vince's favorite word.
Yeah. I think it's just a lot of ego that wouldn't let it die. This is our IP. This is our intellectual property. We're gonna do what we want with it. We're gonna put them on the pay-per-view. We're gonna put them on the cover of the tape, and it's like, man, just let it die.
And did they end up suing WCW over that?
I don't know if they settled or what happened with that, but yes, they tried. So yeah,
because when they go down there, the real Razor, real Diesel, it's them. You know who we are, but you don't know why we're here, and doing all that stuff, like alluding to them. I know WCW kicked around a few names before, like finally landing on the Outsiders. So
yeah,
it was those invaders. So
right, yeah, exactly. By names, they're not really names; they're just things to call them until we figure something out.
And then, just go with what's simple. Stick with their real names. It works.
Yep. Yep, for sure. And that spun off a lot of that in that era of let's strip down the character and just be the real person.
Yeah.
So yes, indeed. Stuff for another episode for sure. There's a lot of interesting details in that.
So the fakers come out, and then Bulldog and Owen cut a promo and back. I thought Bulldog was a great promo. I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
Like, oh, was it Kevin Kelly doing the interview?
Yes, it was. Which
So
I'm always up for a good
yeah,
Kelly Kelly interview.
yeah. Kevin Kelly's talking about like the rift, the friction between Bulldog and Owen, and Bulldog's talking about how there's Steve Austin causing problems for them. And then Owen kind of steps in and just kind of says, Kevin Kelly, you're trying to cause trouble between us and trying to squash that idea that there's beef or whatever.
Right.
Then they hit the ring for the match. Any
Yeah,
thoughts on the promo?
Not really. I thought it was all right. Thought it was pretty good. To me, I won't say that anything stood out per se, except for the very end after Davey finishes talking and he's just like,
yeah,
and just like walks off. He's like, I don't know what to do now. The cameras aren't cutting. So
the big thing that stood out for me was these two are stars, and those two phonies in the ring are going to get their butts kicked. Is what I hoped would happen.
basically, yeah. I thought it was also a nice touch. I want to give Bulldog credit too that he was also putting over his own partner. Like the Slammy Award winning and the all this stuff. He was like trying to tell all the accolades of his partner, which only strengthens any team when you're selfless like that and are able to do that. So that helped invest in the storyline and invest in them as a team. Even though they were kind of put together, they made it make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So, let's see here what we've got. There you go.
Oh,
yeah.
Again, with the glasses, it's not terrible as a Diesel.
It's really not. No.
The hair's off, but
Yep. But Razor, man. Oof.
it's a dad play pretending on Halloween.
That's totally accurate. Yeah. The thing that I was always curious of as a kid was how do they get a hold? I mean, do they have to make all new attire for these two guys to impersonate them? Or, I mean, it's not like they left their gear in the locker room on their way out or something,
I'm
like,
sure
man.
they did. They had to. I mean,
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Kane's as tall as Big Kev. Kane's a big dude, but I don't think he's
right.
Nash tall.
No. In fact, if I remember right, I think he's wearing lifts at this point. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so end of the match.
AAA cameo trying to hype the Royal Rumble.
Yes, and I failed to write down their names, but yeah, two guys from AAA. If you know them, let us know. So we get a lot of that in this match. We get the two guys from AAA
in the whole show.
Yes, and that's a big gripe online is like, what's up with all the run-ins and non-finishes and weird stuff, and yeah. So then Stone Cold walks down to ringside, and Bulldog attacks Austin, and Austin is escorted to the back by officials. Another note that I wrote down is Razor is green as all get out. Just his footwork and, like I said too earlier, his cells. Like he did this weird little flappy thing with his hands. I'm like, dude, Scott Hall would never do anything like that. Like just sell the punch. I'm trying to think too before I get too far ahead of myself here. I think it was Razor. I can't remember if that's right or who it was. I should have written that down. There's something in this pay-per-view that stood out to me. Speaking of selling, I can't remember who it was, but I think it might have been the fake Razor. That every time he would get hit, no, it was Sid. We'll wait on that. Never mind. I'll just wait. I'll shut up and wait. Yes, JR keeps referring to Diesel as what a monster that this Diesel is, which was an interesting foreshadowing that even he didn't know, obviously, at that time what they were going to do with him. Or what he would become, I should say. Razor sets up the power bomb on Bulldog. Owen does a really impressive spinning heel kick to Razor over Bulldog, and Bulldog pins Razor for the 3 count. The crowd was hot for the finish. I thought that the crowd was kind of up and down, mostly just kind of not really didn't care. And then the finish came, and they popped well, like for what was it, 5,700 people, pretty decent pop.
All I wrote was cool finish.
Yeah.
The spinning heel kick and the little sunset flip. I liked it. I dug it. I was like, that's
Yeah,
nice. That
it
worked.
was nice. It
Yeah.
was. It would work today. So then after the match, we get Steve Austin returning to the ring and attacks the British Bulldog, gives him a chop block to his leg. The ref holds Austin back and escorts him out again. Yeah. Then we get after this match, we go backstage, and another fun tidbit for the time is the AOL, where you can you use your keyword and talk to all the superstars of the WWF. And who do we get back there?
Okay, can we pause? America Online, AOL.
They tried, man. They tried.
That was their first attempt with the internet.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
I'll be honest. I think that helped them a lot navigate going forward. Again, there's a lot of meat on the bone as far as wrestling and social medias and stuff like that. But I think they probably learned a lot from their AOL venture, because if you notice, the next thing we got was Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. We totally skipped MySpace and anything that was like up and coming, but not really as successful. So I feel like they waited out longer for something not to have to do the AOL thing again.
Their website, I used to love the old archaic WWE website, and when they updated, I was so upset because
Same.
As a high school student, I was checking it every day. I was like, "This is great!" And anytime something new would be there, it'd be so exciting. And
yeah.
And now I can't tell you the last time I was on there.
Yeah, I used to go regularly back in like 98, 99, 2000, in that era. And I can remember like they would have like so much fun stuff on there. They would have the thing that sticks out to me the most is pin the eyebrow on the Rock. And it was just like a little embedded game.
Yes.
I mean, there's so much. You could literally visit the SmackDown Hotel, and it was like this whole 3D model. It was great. But yeah, now it's just like a place to be able to shop. That's really about it.
And it took them years to. Well, that's another story. But I mean,
right.
That, like, we could go on and on about their online. But yes, this is America Online with the Nation of Domination.
Because why not, right? I mean, sure. Yeah, they're known as great talkers.
Yeah.
That's who I want to call and talk as the next con.
But they weren't
talk to Nails.
Were they even talking? They were just standing behind the guys, like menacing, like making sure you better put us over. Like, yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, just looking angry, standing behind them, and whatever.
Pretty much. Yeah. So that was a interesting way to go backstage. But nonetheless, so now we've got the ring cleared, and Vince is in the ring with. Oh, nope. Missed that.
There we go. Ahmed.
Vince is in the ring with Ahmed Johnson, who I was a big fan of during this time. What's really funny is, to me, in retrospect, I see a lot of the same kind of stuff. And I know that there was a lot of people ahead of me on the curve on this that were like, I don't understand what he's saying. I don't whatever. But like, he is the modern day Ultimate Warrior in that respect. Like, it doesn't kind of really matter. He's just intimidating. He looks intimidating. I don't want to mess with him, and it just works. So
just a big jacked dude.
I was a massive fan, man. I thought he was great. So yes, Vince is in the ring and introduces Ahmed Johnson. Ahmed cuts a babyface promo and says that he lost all that he has to his injury. All that he has left are these fans. And then we get Nation of Domination music, and the Nation enters through the crowd up in the balcony, and Farouk cuts a promo that would not fly today at all. But yeah, I will just refer to it as the Uncle Tom promo, and he says, "Ahmed, you're going down. You're going down." Or I'm sorry, that's what Ahmed says in rebuttal to that. He just starts a "You're going down" chant. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. and again, like at the time, like I was like, ooh, Farouk, another intimidate, like who's talking like this? And I was like, man, like, okay, I wouldn't want to mess with you, but yeah, I wasn't able to understand half of what he said. So
But yeah, Ahmed,
there we go.
there's Nation for you.
Yeah, and we had by the way, Clarence Mason making a double appearance because he was there with
Owen and Bulldog.
thank you.
No, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so he then after that match ran up to the balcony to be able to be in the Nation of Domination. And I've heard so many good stories about Clarence backstage that he was just a really light guy and really did help out in their legal department and stuff like that because he was an actual lawyer. But yeah,
Did
interesting
not
to
know
see.
that.
Yeah, interesting to see the Nation of Domination. Obviously, this is a picture from the same era, but of a different event. But so many people, so filled out, but we don't have D'Lo, we don't have Godfather, we don't have Mark Henry yet. But and so this is like my memory of Nation. Not what we would know with Owen and what it ended up being. I remember it
Yeah.
being like an army of people, and I was like, man, this is. I was a big fan of Nation of Domination.
So I remember Newer Nation.
Do you?
Yeah, I remember the whole DX skit. That's the thing they WWE
Gotcha.
has trained us to remember, and that's like the big one. I when I think of the Nation, I think of Mark Henry, Godfather, D'Lo, for sure.
Yeah, which was a fantastic version, for sure. It just wasn't
the Rocky
original.
Maivia, The Rock. Yeah,
Right. Yeah. And then that newer version, like, could arguably be one of the most successful factions in wrestling history.
Yeah.
As far as everybody getting over and getting storylines. So
yeah. So there's that quick promo, and then it leads us to Mark Marrow and Triple H.
yes. And again, so full disclosure too, there was like next to no pictures available on the internet for this pay-per-view, and I was like, oh, now I know why. It's just not that great. But yeah, so we get Mark Marrow and Sable, Wildman Mark Marrow. And this is Sable before she really, I mean, she's just about to turn the corner on getting the, okay, and now I've got, I'm like this cat lady, Catwoman, that kind of thing. She's just like a sexy valet at this point. So we're still not there as far as like Mark being jealous of Sable and all this. This is way before that. So this is whenever Vince has the rocket strapped to Mark, and yeah, we get a lot more pyro again
Yes.
as Mark makes his way to the ring, and yeah, getting the full treatment. We get Hunter Hearst Helmsley enters the ring.
And your
course,
picture has the title switched, right? Mark Marrow was champion at the time.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were to ignore that previous picture.
Yeah. So Triple H is challenging for the Intercon. Mark Marrow's getting that treatment, all that pyro. He's looking jacked. He is out there with the beautiful Sable, and he's going.
No, wait a minute. Back that up. Did you say that Mark was the champ?
I thought he was, wasn't he?
No.
Oh, it was Triple H.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, and I looked at my notes. No, Triple H is the champ.
Okay.
I think he had just recently won it though. But yeah. So another interesting sight in this moment as they're making their entrances. One of my favorites, we had the Karate Fighters blimp made an appearance. Do you know much, John, about the blimps that WWF used at the time?
I remember them at different sporting events, like dropping coupons and stuff.
They're actually RC. They're actually remote controlled by somebody operating them there in the place. I had no idea. I thought they were just like free floating kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know what I thought, but yeah.
Did you ever see them in person or no?
No.
Okay, so in person they would come out of like a door up top in the ceiling, and they would do a lap around the stadium and then go back to that door. So yeah,
gotcha.
I knew they were RC. It's otherwise, how would you get it down? You know.
I was watching the wrestling. I didn't care about the logistics of a blimp.
Yeah. They always drop like coupons and stuff. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So like different blues games or whatever, they would do that stuff.
Gotcha. I thought it was a unique way to put advertising out and stuff too,
Yeah,
as
that's
opposed to just like having a sign just hang there or whatever, and it's just in one spot. So, yeah, let's cut right to the chase, I guess. So my thoughts on this match were the chemistry between Mark and Triple H was bad. The footwork was kind of clumsy. I did appreciate being a Triple H fan. The abdominal stretch spot where old babyface Earl Hunter is reaching for the ropes with the abdominal stretch and telling the crowd, "Shut up, shut up." And Earl goes around once and checks and doesn't see anything, does it again, and kicks Hunter's leg off, or kicks Hunter's arm off the rope, and fires up against him. And Hunter does the push, Earl spot, and Earl fires up like big time, and Triple H cowers down in the corner and does a whole heel shtick. So yeah, which he incorporates into several different WrestleMania matches, and I just thought that was a cool spot, an easy way to get heat. Let's see here. Then Goldust comes to the ring, and
gotta have a run in on this show.
Oh yeah, no, we don't have enough.
So we are at the two AAA guys, Austin, now Goldust, and this is the third match on the actual show.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, before Goldust comes down, by the way, we get a Marrow Salt, which is just a moonsault done by Mark Marrow. Goldust comes to the ring and hits Marrow and Triple H with a loaded Gucci bag. I mean, just a foreign object that was never even described or nobody even cared to look into. He attacked both guys with something and everybody accepted it. And then we get a count out, a non-finish. Marrow wins and Hunter retains. So yeah. And then after the match, Marrow hits a shooting star press on Hunter and leaves and then is attacked by Goldust, is Hunter. So yeah.
So he loses by count out. He gets beat up after the match by the guy who just beat him, and then he gets beat up again by Goldust.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
You know.
Sure.
Oh man. Okay. So now after that brutal beatdown, we're then taken backstage where Doc Hendricks is interviewing Sid.
More brutality coming up.
And so I'm trying to think, is it Psycho Sid or is it just Sid at this point? I can't remember. I think it's just Sid.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've only got one thing written down here for this, and I honestly I thought that this was a good promo. And then at the end, he always, this is the turn of the or the start, I should say, of catchphrases, and we got to use catchphrases for everybody. So Sid is, I'm the master and the ruler of the world. And I'm like, all I can see is your backwards baseball hat, and you don't look like a ruler of anything. So yeah, I was just so distracted by that. Like, I'm like, Sid, too much of your real life self is showing through here, and it's hard for me to invest. So yeah. Let's see here. So then we move back to the ring, and we get Taker, the Undertaker, I should say. And I'm sorry, before we go to the ring, we get the backstory of Taker and Paul Bearer splitting at what was that, Survivor Series? Is that right? SummerSlam.
Yeah. This is in December. I'm not sure which
I think
they were
Survivor
on the time frame. Survivor Series would have been just a couple weeks before.
Right. I'm pretty sure that's the case. I think it was Survivor Series that Paul turns on Taker. I can't remember for sure. But anyway, so we get a package explaining all that. And then we get Taker versus the Executioner, which, do you know who the Executioner is?
Terry Gordy.
There you go. Former Freebird.
Freebird.
And yeah, we get an Armageddon rules match. John, do you know the rules for an Armageddon rules match? Do you want to go over those with the people?
So, oh, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it you have to get a 3 count, and then your opponent has to not answer a 10 count?
I mean, yes. So there is no disqualification.
Okay.
There's no countouts. You can, yes, either win by pinfall or submission, but once that count is over, once they tap out, then there will be a 10 count after the finish, and if they're not able to get back to their feet or whatever, then the match is over. Otherwise, the match will continue even after a 3 count. More on that in a minute.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay,
this might be match of the show too. Maybe
really.
Not. Made me laugh.
Well, I'm gonna hand the reins over to you and let you take this over for this match then.
I mean, the ridiculousness of it. So I made the comment about, Goldust has to come out for the last match. In this match, Mankind. So he's got to make his obligatory run in. He almost trips over. Well, he does trip in the match.
That's so funny.
And it just didn't look good. He just kind of like hugs Taker's knee and Taker.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's all well and fine. The brawl through the arena to the outside. The Executioner gets dumped off the side of the arena, essentially.
Right.
And falls down this, like, I don't know.
Like a concrete
slope of concrete,
hill. Yeah.
like hill next to the stairs. And he goes into the water.
Yeah.
Was that a lake? Is that a pond?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he falls in there.
Taker body of water.
Yeah. Taker goes back to the ring. There's stuff going on with Mankind. They throw Mankind, ends up in a straitjacket.
Okay, yeah. No. It's so all over
the Executioner, guess what? He can swim. He gets out and comes back to the ring.
Right. And hightails it back to the ring in time for the match. Yeah.
Gets back there, still soaking wet. Takes the finish. 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the match is over. Just between Foley falling, Executioner going in the water, just whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't hate it. That's the sad thing. For as crazy as all that sounds and the straitjacket, I didn't hate it.
Okay,
so,
that's
you
interesting.
Think?
That's interesting. Okay, so here's what I've got. And I'll go through this quickly because you got the high points for sure. Let's see here. Yeah, so like you said, Taker rips up the padding on the outside. Mankind does his run in but slips. Taker throws Mick through the house set on the stage, which I thought was like very interesting because I'm like looking at my clock and I'm like, wait, don't we still have one more match? Like, why are we tearing the set up? So security comes to the ring and maces Mankind. The commentary team sells this like, oh, I can't breathe, all this stuff, and I'm like, well, I just love the over the topness. Before I carry on, by the way, I thought that the match was good because of all the stuff. If you wouldn't have had this match would have been like the by far worst match on the show. Terry Gordy is way far past his prime. He's got some lingering injury. I can't remember if it's his shoulder or his legs or something. So he's damaged goods.
Every match on the show was a wrestling match, and then you had this craziness where you had a brawl and you had just ridiculous shenanigans going on. So
yeah,
different.
So for me, it was I just saw it through the lens of, man, Mark is working his tail off trying to carry this match and help Terry out. Like at one point, I can hear like as like the camera is next to them at by the ring post and stuff outside, and I'm like, I know that's got to be Terry just blowing up to all get out. But let's see here. One of the this is another small detail that I noticed. Did you notice anything funny about the security guards?
I did not. What
One of
about?
them is wearing a pair of Zubaz. Like, I just can't quite take you seriously, sir.
I thought you were referring to it being someone, but yes, yeah.
I was like, oh my god, yeah, this has got to be legit. Oh god.
It's 96. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Taker and Executioner battle the backstage and into outside, go down the hill into the water, yada yada yada. Mankind's in a straight jacket, which I well, we'll get to in a minute, I guess.
Yeah.
So like you said, Executioner like gets out of the water, swims a couple laps, comes out,
The water's
back into the ring.
pouring out of his boot for the
And
tombstone.
what a visual, man. I thought it was great. And you could tell that it legit popped the commentators because like they all like two or three of them voiced their, whatever I'm trying to say. They all spoke up at the same time, stepping on each other's toes and like, wow, look at the water. And I was like, dude, that is a really cool visual. Like that's totally organic. Of course, it's not like it was planned. But yeah, it was funny because, and I was looking very closely to see if any of that was pre-taped or not. And it was not. It was all totally live because when he's coming back out, he's like got water prints on the way to the ring, and yeah, it was good stuff. Let's see here. Taker throws or Taker and Mankind, excuse me, battle outside as Mankind is in the straight jacket. Taker. No, he's already done that. Okay, yeah. Anyway, so Taker wins via 3 count after the tombstone, obviously.
3 count.
Then we
He had
go.
the 10 count.
Yes, which a good point. Because like, what's the point of an Armageddon rules match and you have this extra 10 count and you don't even use it? So I don't know if this is a time constraint, if they just went home because it was like, okay, we got nothing else. I don't know what the deal was, but it was weird. I'm like, why are you going through all this gimmickness to not use it? It didn't make sense to me at all. So, yeah. So we go backstage and we get Doc Hendricks with Bret Hart. And yeah, what were your thoughts on this promo as compared to, say, Sid or even Bulldog and Owen?
I don't remember the promo. I might have walked in the other room. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Did you say anything great? It wasn't memorable to me. Was it?
Really? So you should
give it another watch.
You really should. It's like a 2-minute kind of thing. So it starts out not so great, if I'm being honest. It's not bad. It's not whatever. It's just a whatever, run of the mill kind of going through the motions. And as they're talking, Shawn Michaels' music hits. And like Bret gets legitimately ticked off. And so he's like, you're not going to cut for me. And he's like, I'm sick and tired of Shawn Michaels. Everybody's Shawn Michaels. What about me? What about Bret? And I was like, man, this is great. Like, man, where was this? So it totally, that flub saved the promo, in my opinion, and made it a great promo. And he was just talking about how he's sick to death of Shawn Michaels. And, yeah, it was great. Good stuff. So Shawn
he's got less than a year left before he leaves. So
yeah. Again, I couldn't find an actual picture, so I used a substitute. But Shawn makes his way to the ring, and does the whole pyro and the whole thing. We got to have more pyro and more flash for all 5,000 people here. And then goes down to the commentary table and joins the commentary team. Yes, so that's that page. Then we get Bret versus Sid, and of course Sid was the champion at the time. So one thing that I noticed, because I know you and I have talked before about attire and Bret Hart, this jacket, I loved the jacket that Bret was wearing on this.
It was different.
It
was different from what you're used to seeing.
It was.
It wasn't straight black with the white, and it wasn't Hart Foundation either. It was like that in between period, I guess.
Correct. Yeah. So we had stars on the collar that were red and outlined in gold. We had red and gold on the cuffs. We had black metal fringe on the shoulder pads instead of the silver that we're used to seeing. Like, yeah, it was different, and I really liked this different look for him.
I don't know if it was a one-off or something he was doing for a couple months or what, but
And I'm
it's
not sure
something I
either.
don't remember.
I do know that they had just come back from an overseas tour, so I wonder if it was something special for that he was just using a little bit longer kind of thing until he had a program. But
Yeah.
so that was the first note that I had. Steve Austin uh, does a run in during the match, so same guy but yet another run in, and
So
we
the
get a chop
AAA
block.
guys, the
What's
AAA
that?
guys, Austin, Gold Dust, Mankind, Austin again, and that's going to bring out Bulldog and Owen.
Yeah. It's insane. So yes,
Whatever.
Austin hits a chop block on Brett. There's a exposed turnbuckle botch thanks
Oh
to
yeah,
Sid. That
yeah,
was awful.
yep.
So
So
this is the
Brett
match.
just kind of falls into it, like
Well, they fall short of it, and then like immediately get right back up and try it again. And I'm like, why?
it still
Like,
didn't
just
look good.
yeah, no. So earlier I had started to say, and then mid thought I remembered it was Sid. So something about Sid selling that I noticed that I'd never noticed before, and I'm kind of oddly interested to go back and watch more Sid to see if this was the case all the time or if it was just this match or what. But his selling was awful. Like it was so bad. He would like if you punch him in the gut, oh, he just like sell and then stay in that hunched over until he did something with it. And I'm like, why? What are we doing? Like, move. Let's. Oh, it was just nothing about it was good to me.
The fact you said you want to go watch more Sid matches, like, I mean, I hope it's for comedy, but it's not. That's not the. Oh, I can't wait to get home and watch like the best of Sid. Not
Yeah, there's a reason that DVD never came out.
yeah.
Oh man.
Well, I mean, it's on YouTube, Botchamania, but
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We're live, pal. So Sid pie faces Sean on commentary, which I thought was a great spot. And like the whole hey, we're cool, and then he just pie faces him, and it was great, which causes Sean, of course, to get up on the ring wherever we are on the slides somewhere, maybe, hopefully.
yep.
And
Not Brett, the Irish Whip. Brett knocks into Sean. Brett stumbles back. Sid hits the power bomb. Does Sid know there's a hard camera?
no,
Because
no,
he's nowhere like that. That's the replay.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure from a different camera angle, but
I
I
think
don't
so
know.
too.
But yeah, he had no clue where the hard cam was. He just kind of does it facing the opposite direction.
And then pins backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Whatever.
I
Exactly.
think that's how they all felt on this show. So
Pretty much. So
Sid's still champion, and then
yep.
we get some extracurriculars. Anyway, Brett and Owen chased away Stone Cold. We needed to say that, but then afterwards, Brett and Sean get into it outside the ring a little bit more.
Yeah. And I thought that was good stuff. And then we get a replay of Sean getting pushed off the apron. And on the replay, we see that as he's falling back, he turns and he actually hits his face on the chair that was in question by commentary. And that was never mentioned or covered or anything. It was like, we had something there. He made something out of this, and y'all didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, that's all I've got for my notes for this show. So overall, John, what are your thoughts of WWF In Your House number 12? It's time.
Wouldn't have been my first choice to watch.
Shots fired.
I mean, like, there's some good comedy in there, but it's not something I'm itching to watch again.
Yeah, yeah. I'm kind of low key glad that we just have it out of the way and done with.
Yeah, I mean the amount of run-ins was just staggering to me.
It was. It was.
That your opener didn't have a run-in, but then the next 1, 2, 3, 4 matches had 8 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm surprised you didn't talk more about Paul Bear in this show. Was Paul? Did he do anything stand out for you other than
not
that
necessarily
promo on the
just that
pre-show?
promo, and I thought that promo was just fantastic. But I thought there was so much, to use a Pat Patterson phrase, there's so much gaga around the rest of the match that Paul didn't really need to do anything.
Yeah.
So I'm, I would like to say that I'm glad that he stayed back and didn't kind of overstep that, but at the same time, it's Paul Bear, and I'm a huge Paul Bear mark. So,
And my thoughts were, if you would have done, like, if we would rebook it, I'm fine with Austin doing the run-in during Owen Bulldog, but then I think you cut the AAA guys, maybe give them a promo or something, just to hype the Rumble if that's what you're trying to accomplish with the AAA guys.
yep.
I would have cut the Gold Dust stuff with the Mark Marrow Triple H, or maybe made it a 3-way or handicap something. Make Gold Dust the referee. That would have added to it. Like if he's trying to feud with both of them.
Right. Well, and if you remember, that was the whole Marlena stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you could have done something else there. Taker Executioner. If it's a Armageddon match, why not make it Executioner and Mankind versus Taker just on the card?
Right.
And then you could have had Sid Brett, and you could have had Austin, Owen, and Bulldog do the run-ins also. And you've got more run-ins, but you only have it in the tag match and the main event. To me, having the run-ins during the tag match helped because it takes away from the distracting fake Razor, fake Diesel.
Yeah,
and like the run-ins take the focus off of the two phonies.
Yes.
And if you're doing Sid and Brett, and you're trying to build Brett and Sean, having run-ins during that doesn't take away from a garbage finish anyway.
Right.
So if you would have, readjusted what you did with Goldust, readjusted what you did with Mankind, moved the AAA guys to a promo or something, I think it would have been a better show. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think that all the points that you brought up were very solid. Yeah, I do think that for as many straight style matches that there were on the show, it didn't need all those run-ins. I strongly agree that the tag match did, like you said, to kind of cover up, the obvious. But yeah, I think this is kind of overall a transitional pay-per-view, and trying to transition storylines and shuffle the deck kind of thing.
And like you said, business was down on the show at the beginning, and you've lost 2 big stars, and you're trying to make new ones. So you're doing that with Austin. You've got Austin causing chaos. You've got him involved with the Hart Foundation. You're teasing Brett and Sean, and you're building to. I mean, you're at a couple weeks away from the Royal Rumble, and you're going to lead into Mania with Brett versus Austin at 13 and 97. So I mean. Right. You're making Austin there. So, yeah, definitely a transition period for sure.
Mr. John, what do you got for us for the next episode?
Next episode, I want to take a look back at Starrcade 1997, dealing with Hogan and Sting. A match that was a dream match that had a year's worth of build. And I kind of want to go back, watch that match, and watch the pay-per-view as a whole. So I think
there you go.
Starrcade 97 is where we're headed.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I've said it through and through that I was a WWF fan, a loyalist, if you will. So I didn't very often change a channel, and if I did, it was for brief amounts of time. And then I would go to school the next day and talk wrestling with my wrestling friends and get the WCW side of things from them, to kind of keep my finger on the pulse. But yeah, so I don't know that I've ever even seen all of it or any of it. So I'm excited to dive in to something blind, kind of the same way that you did today. So
yeah.
I'm just hoping.
I hope it's better results.
Same, exactly. Oh man. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. So, John, thank you again for joining us. And yeah, be sure to check out the next episode of Recliner Wrestling Review. See ya.